What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis in Jeopardy. We're now less than 2 weeks out from UFC 297, where middleweight champion Sean Strickland will look to defend his title against Dricus du Plessis. With the fight right around the corner, one would think that Sean Strickland would be taking it easy and putting the final preparations into his training camp given the high-stakes affair. However, the champ recently had some time to enjoy himself in the new year. Photos that have been circulating social media show Strickland with a pretty significant flesh wound that appears to be from a firework. A series of pictures show a shirtless Strickland with a firework, as well as being hit by a firework in the back. In the third picture, the middleweight champ seems to have a burn of sorts on his skin, leading many to fear that he could wind up missing out on he and du Plessis' title fight. With 2 weeks to go until the fight, the champ will have to take care to ensure that the wound doesn't wind up getting infected. Although he may be willing to tough out any sort of injury, the UFC and Canadian Athletic Commission doctors likely won't be too keen to allow him to fight if he ends up developing a skin infection. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at MMA community roasts Sean O'Malley for interview. UFC bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley recently participated in an interview with a social media influencer that goes by the name of Neon. During the interview, the influencer asked O'Malley if he had ever been turned on during a fight, before then asking him a more personal question.
So would you ever have a threesome with or a foursome, like two girls and me and you?
Yeah, 100%. I love a good four-back. I've never had one with another guy.
I've never had one. I really want to experience it, bro.
I mean, you know, homo.
And we just swap. Oh my God, man.
O'Malley's response has generated quite a bit of criticism for the champ ahead of his UFC 299 rematch against Marlon Chito Vera. Former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling was quick to react to a fan who reposted the interview clip while writing, "This makes me want Aljo back," by writing, "This clip makes me smile inside. I'll just leave it at LOL." Another predicted that O'Malley's personal life could wind up holding him back from superstardom, writing, "The UFC are trying to make him the next big star of the company, but who he associates with is going to be his biggest downfall, unfortunately." Another took aim at the bantamweight champ for including his daughter in on such an interview, writing, "Yeah, O'Malley's a f***ing loser. This is so sad. Talking like this with his daughter in his lap, poor girl being raised by two pervert parents with no self-respect. Can't wait till Umar takes his belt." Another seemed to agree with the sentiment, writing, "This dude is okay sacrificing his wife and doesn't know that he's sacrificing his daughter too. Someone in the family needs to rescue her." One member of the MMA community even likened O'Malley to Ian Gary, writing, "Oh man, Sean is catching up to Ian Gary." Another summed up the general sentiment of the MMA community, writing, "Yeah, this is a massive L for O'Malley. Given the criticism the champ has faced, it'll be interesting to see how the fans respond when he and Chito Vera collide in Florida." Next up, let's take a look at Belal Muhammad sends warning to Leon Edwards. The last time Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad shared the octagon, the fight was cut short by an inadvertent eye poke that rendered Muhammad unable to continue. After eagerly waiting for his shot at revenge for several years, Muhammad is expected to get a crack at the welterweight title at UFC 300. This week, while speaking in an interview with MMA Fighting, Muhammad put the welterweight champ on notice. "Honestly, I think it will really wake people up to how good I am. Watching how much I've grown since that first fight, the different styles, because I've leveled up so much, I'm only getting better," Muhammad said. "I'm only growing every single fight, every single camp. Now you're going to give me a full 12 to 14 weeks to fight Leon Edwards? It's going to be the worst night of his life." According to BetOnline AG, Belal Muhammad currently sits as a slight plus 125 underdog to Leon Edwards' status as a negative 155 favorite. The odds seem to be indicative of just how split the MMA community is on the fight. While Muhammad has continued to dominate opponents time and time again, the champion in his first two title defenses has shown that he's rounded a corner. With Ali Abdelaziz indicating that Muhammad would soon be traveling to Dagestan, it seems to only be a matter of time before the UFC officially announces the fight. Next, let's take a look at Paddy Pimblett called out for weight gain. Paddy Pimblett's UFC 296 victory over Tony Ferguson to end the year marked a successful return for the streaking Scouser after being forced to the sidelines for a year with an ankle injury. With he and his wife expecting twins in April, Pimblett has shut the door on a fight at UFC 300, instead indicating that he'll likely be returning to the octagon over the summer. Since then, the baddie has put on quite a bit of weight. As it has on several occasions in the past, the situation has earned Pimblett a fair bit of criticism from fans and his peers. Renato Moicano took aim at Pimblett in a video for his YouTube channel this week.
Can somebody send me this picture of this Paddy Pimblett? And look how fat he is, my brother. I cannot believe how big he gets between fights. I'm not even joking. He fought December 16. So less than 3 weeks, my brother. And now he's looking like an old retired fighter, my brother. Fat as and was not only that time. Every time you see Paddy Pimblett, we see that he fights and then he just become obese after the fight. And I think that's going to be very detrimental for his career.
With Moicano set for a February collision with Drew Dober, if the fan favorite manages to get a win, he could look to call out Pimblett for a fight over the summer and capitalize on the attention his recent comments have earned him. Next, let's take a look at Dana White revealing huge news. Dana White has put the MMA community on notice, announcing that he's preparing to return from vacation and conquer both the month of January and the rest of 2024. White had previously indicated that he was on vacation in Bali, but he would be returning to the United States for a matchmaking meeting on Tuesday, after which he'll likely drop news regarding UFC 300. In a post on his Instagram story, the UFC CEO reposted a quote from Rick Rubin that read, "Maybe the best idea is the one you're going to come up with this evening." Along with the quote, White wrote, "Truth, I've had a ton of them while on vacation. I get home tomorrow and I'm going to destroy January and 2024. As White has indicated quite often as of late, there's a reason that he's been feeling more energized and motivated than ever before. In a separate post made on his Instagram story, he wrote, 69 hours into my fast, land in Vegas in 9 hours 25 minutes, heading straight into the superhuman protocol as soon as I land, pumped. Feeling amazing, going into Monday like a maniac. Haven't felt this good since I was in my 20s and 30s. Between UFC 300 in April, the return of Conor McGregor, and the expected return of both Jon Jones and Israel Adesanya in 2024, the year is shaping up to be a big one for the UFC.
What's up, guys? I just got back from vacation. 2 fight announcements for you. First, the co-main event in Miami, March 9th, UFC 299 will be number 3 ranked lightweight Dustin Poirier versus number 12 ranked Benoit Saint-Denis. Saint-Denis is on a 5-fight win streak, with all 5 coming by finish before the 3rd round. He's been saying that he believes he's the new BMF of the UFC, and he'll have the opportunity to prove it against Dustin Poirier, who is an absolute savage and always goes to war. These 2 guys agreed to fight, but they both wanted a 5-round fight, so they got it. That is the co-main event of the Miami show. Next, for UFC 300, number 1 ranked lightweight Charles Oliveira is taking on number 4 ranked Arman Tsarukyan in a number 1 contender fight. Oliveira was supposed to fight the champ Islam Makhachev, but Islam is still recovering from an injury. Tsarukyan is coming off a vicious knockout of Beneil Dariush. The winner will face Islam when he returns this summer. So, there's 2 big fight announcements for you now. I'll have more for you Tuesday after matchmaking. It's good to be back. See you Tuesday.
Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. With the return of the UFC rapidly approaching this weekend, let's take a look at a recently announced fight that may have flown under the radar. According to reports, Dana White's Contender Series alum, Stephen Wynn, has been booked to fight Jarno Aarons in a featherweight bout at UFC Vegas 88 on March 23rd. The event, which will take place at the UFC Apex, currently doesn't have a main event booked quite yet. However, with the event just over 2 months away, expect that to change in the coming weeks. The bout will see Wynn look to build momentum on a September victory on Dana White's Contender Series, which marked his 2nd win on the show after a 2-year hiatus from the sport. On the flip side, Jarno Aarons will be looking to snap a 2-fight skid that most recently saw him drop a unanimous decision to Sung-Woo Choi back in August. So far, only a handful of fights have been added to the card, meaning that the UFC will likely continue to announce more and more in the weeks to come. Next, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley makes bold prediction. After knocking out Aljamain Sterling in the 1st round to capture UFC gold, Sugar Sean O'Malley had cemented himself as a true star in the sport. Although the event didn't perform as expected on pay-per-view, the highlight reel finish over a dominant champ quickly put O'Malley on the trajectory similar to Conor McGregor in the eyes of many fans. Although he didn't have the chance to defend his title before the end of the year, as he had hoped, the champ plans to make his fight with Chito Vera the next step towards becoming the biggest star in the sport. Speaking in an interview with ESPN, O'Malley revealed his plan to become as big of a star as Conor McGregor.
And then I would like to get another one in by the end of the year and be the biggest star in sports, not just combat sports. I think I go out there and put 2 beautiful performances together. I will be as big as Conor. The UFC's grown 40-50% since Conor has really was in his prime that COVID really boosted the UFC, so I have a lot more eyeballs, a lot more opportunity to become, more of a star.
Although many critics have stated that O'Malley wants to be like Conor McGregor, the way he sees things, given how big of a star Conor McGregor is, it shouldn't come as a surprise that he wants to follow in the footsteps of the former two-division champ. The MMA community goes off on Islam Makhachev for his recent injury. Dana White announced last night that Islam will be out until the summer due to an undisclosed injury. When he's back, he'll be fighting the winner of Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan for his return. Here's what the community had to say to Islam. Islam ducking contenders, there's a shock. The man has one of the worst resumes for a champion in the history of the sport. Why did it take so long for this news to come out if it's an ongoing injury? Strip him of his title. John Jones had to give his up. Give it to Oliveira. I'm champ. Now I'm gonna only fight guys that weigh less than me and are significantly shorter, so I always have the advantage and get the win. It's suspicious. Literally a week ago, Islam Makhachev tweeted he wants to fight before April. Nah bro, he's gonna return on October for Abu Dhabi card and the same every year. He got caught for juice, so he can't fight in the US, I guess. Best division in the UFC is being held up by a guy that wants to fight 2 times a year, has had the championship over a year and hasn't defended against a lightweight yet. Top comments. People need to back off my boy Joe Rogan. He's never claimed to be a fighter or a tough guy. In one of his recent pods, someone asked him something along the lines of him being able to beat people in a fight, and his response was, "Oh, I get my ass kicked, so leave the man alone." The people hating on Rogan are the same people who tried to push Dana to fight Jake Paul. You expect these damn near 60-year-olds to be throwing combos as cleanly as actively training 20 and 30-year-olds in their prime? The biggest thing that I'm taking out of this lawsuit that nobody seems to be talking about is the equity that was taken out of the UFC every year. Hundreds of $1 million per year taken out just to pay out the owners as bonuses. I'm glad a lot of the UFC dealings are coming out. There's so much smoke and mirrors, and withholding money, it's crazy. Also, I hope people now realize Joe is not a fighter. Chandler at 185 is going to look like a giant leg cramp. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.